What's going on, everybody? All right. If you have an injury, if you have something that is bothering you and you feel like you need to restrict the movement in that area, or you have a limitation because of something that's happened to you, right? You've got a bad knee, you got a torn meniscus, you got a torn labrum, you got a pulled groin, your lower back is bothering you, whatever it may be. Do not stop working on your fitness because of that one thing, okay? Stopping working on everything because one thing is bothering you or one thing is causing you a problem is it's way on the side of overkill, right? When we talk about rest and recovery, okay? Resting an injury, resting an area doesn't mean you stop doing everything, okay? I know there's there's a mental aspect to getting hurt and feeling like you can't do things and feeling restricted and feeling like you're just not 100%. So it kind of starts a downward spiral of not wanting to do things. Don't let that happen, okay? One of the biggest benefits to working on your fitness is that there's so many things to work on. You never have an excuse to not have something that you can work on. If you have a bad knee, you can work on your core. You can work on cardio. You can still do cardio things even with a bad knee, right? You can work on range of motion in your hips, in your shoulders. You can work on strength in your arms, in your chest, in your back, right? You can work on so many other things, skills, drills. Don't let an injury hold you back. That's really the basis, right? Don't let an injury hold you back. There's no reason why it should. You can work around it. You can work to improve it. Many times when people have injuries, they stop doing things altogether, and that's not always the best thing. Sometimes, depending on the injury, always with guidance, always having someone there to help you and make sure you're not doing something stupid. But it is often a good idea to get some kind of movement, some kind of activity, light, slow, controlled, static, whatever it may be. Don't just stop, right? When you just stop, right? You're stopping the progress. You're stopping everything that you worked as hard as you have to get to where you are. You don't want to do that. 3 things that you can do. All right, we'll talk about this real quick. 3 things that you can do to work through or work around or keep going if you have an injury or something that's limiting what you're able to do, okay? The first thing, limit the range of motion. If you have bad knees and it hurts when you squat, okay, don't do full squats. Sit down on a chair, stand up. Do something that limits the range of motion to something that's within a range of movement that is not going to aggravate whatever you have going on. Okay, that's just one example, right? If you have a bad shoulder and you can't press overhead, don't press overhead. If you can go in front of you, if you can go to the side, if you can pull, do those things. Don't do that thing that's overhead, right? Limit the range of motion so you don't do something that's going to aggravate. There are other directions and types of movements that you can work that will still strengthen those general areas, okay? The second thing you can do, it's a real obvious one, drop the weight. If you're doing something heavy and it bothers you, you shouldn't be doing it heavy. Drop the weight. If you have to do something with no weight and you have an open hand, right, nothing on your back for squatting or whatever, if you're doing deadlifts in the air with nothing in your hands, you're not actually lifting anything, that's perfectly fine. You're doing something, you're moving, you're working the joints, you're working range of motion, you're activating muscles, okay? It is better to do that than not do anything at all. All right? The third thing you can do for specific issues or just general questions, ask somebody who's got the experience that can help you decide what is a good option for you to do. Somebody like me, right? If you have a question, send me a DM, post it as a comment in one of my posts, right? There's plenty of information. I love answering questions. So if you have a question about, I have bad knees, I have a bad shoulder, I've got a bad back, I've got a bad neck, whatever it may be, how do I do X, Y, or Z exercise? I would love to help. All right. So 3 things you can do: limit the range of motion, drop the weight, and ask for help. Also, remember, don't let an injury stop your progress.